Here's Brody Brazil.
So I hope you already know this about me, but I'll say it one more time at the start of this video just so we're clear. I never want to come on YouTube and be completely speculative by nature. Now that's totally different from being curious or asking questions or trying to understand things that I don't. That's one thing. But to come on here and to take one item and another item and kind of bend the truth in between and stretch things to fit my own narrative, that's not what I want to do at all. So I want to say that ahead of making this video. Why am I doing it? It's because I have a genuine concern, a genuine worry for the long-term viability of the Chicago White Sox baseball franchise. There are some things out there that exist right now surrounding this franchise that maybe are connected, maybe are not connected. I'll let you decide that part, but I want to point them out, spell them out. You can make the final decision and agree with me if you're worried about all of this together or not. So I'll begin kind of item by item here with just flat out the 2024 team on the field. Their record, not good. 19 games in, 3 wins, 16 losses. They are terrible on the road, a 1-7 record away from Chicago. Not just that, they are getting beat by large margins. They have a -61 run differential. That is the worst in all of Major League Baseball already by 20 runs. They're not even close. They're getting beat a lot, and they're getting beat by a lot. Baseball Reference had this tweet the other day saying the White Sox have been shut out again. It's their 7th scoreless game of the year, the most by any team in our database through the first 19 games of a season. And the Baseball Reference database literally goes all the way back, like to the beginning of time. Not just to the beginning of baseball, but to the beginning of time. So you understand that the team on the field this year, maybe dealing with some injuries, but not very well put together. And maybe not being invested in like they used to be in recent years. So that's one thing to pay attention to. Here's another big one. Their attendance. Now, I realize this is the months of March and April, and it's still cold in Chicago, but take a look at 2022 to last year, 2023. The White Sox saw a change of -339,000 fans plus from 2 years ago to last year. That's on average 4,000 plus, 4,100 plus fewer fans per game on average. That is a significant dip. In fact, that was more than double the next closest dip in all of Major League Baseball. And to be clear, I think there were only about 3 or 4, maybe 5 total teams that saw any decline in attendance either throughout the whole season or on average per game. So only a couple teams lost fans from 22 to 23, and the White Sox lost a lot by the biggest margin by far. And you add on 2024 on top of that. So from 22 to 23, they saw a huge decrease in fans. And then 2024 so far, and it's early, I understand, and the weather's a factor, and they had to play a doubleheader for one of the games because one got rained out. I get it. But they are already down another 4,500 or so on average per game so far this season. Their average is 16,151. Rough team, rough start. Rough going with attendance. You can see kind of the meal that's cooking here. There's a photo from one of the games in the doubleheader back on April 17th against Kansas City. You can count the people in attendance there. You can also see the gray skies and understand that it's still cold and the weather system is still moving through. But, that's a rough look for a team that, wants a new ballpark and is trying to get public money. And we'll get into all that, but I just wanted you to see that visual to go along with all this. The White Sox and their ownership are seeking a brand new stadium. It's a beautiful spot. Look at this. The neighborhood called the 78, which they want to develop. It's on the South Loop. How did that land never get developed? How does that big patch of green even exist just south of the downtown corridor in Chicago? The White Sox play at New Comiskey / U.S. Cellular Field / now it's called Guaranteed Rate Field. It opened in 1991, and even that was a team and the White Sox being saved at the very last minute. It was actually past the midnight deadline. It was a 12th or 13th hour decision by politicians in Illinois to award the team public funding to help build that brand new stadium. Problem is, that stadium got built right before Camden Yards. Do the math on that. Camden Yards was the first of the retro-themed ballparks. And then after Camden Yards, every other stadium through the 90s and 2000s was built that way and became very popular aesthetically, like the look and the architecture. Chicago got the last of the modern turned, not very modern anymore ballparks. So they've always kind of been stuck in a rut on that. And if you look at the neighborhood, there's just really not enough room for growth. They can't do anything else. It's right across the street from where old Comiskey Park used to be. They've been there for their entire existence. There's just not much they can do. So they want to move to this new spot. They're seeking a new stadium. The renderings got leaked, and then the renderings were official, and they're very in on trying to get to a new stadium. They see something they want, and they say they need. They don't want to fix up Guaranteed Rate Field. They want to move. They want to go closer to downtown. And therein lies the problem. The White Sox want public funds to do it, and not just public funds, like a lot of public funding. Chicago White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf desires a new stadium for his club, one built largely at public expense, but Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, hope I'm saying that right, may not be inclined to give him what he wants, as the Chicago Sun-Times notes. This was from a governor press conference that had nothing to do with the stadium, but here's what Governor Pritzker said, quote, "I start out really reluctant. Unless a case is made that the investment yields a long-term return for the taxpayers that we can justify in some way, I haven't seen that yet." So the governor's already saying, unless there's a way to justify $1.7 billion, we can't do that. In the White Sox case, Reinsdorf is seeking $1.7 billion in direct public investment, plus tax kickbacks. It also goes on here to mention a friend of the YouTube channel. We've had him on as recently, I think, as a couple months ago. Field of Schemes' Neil DeMoss notes that would make it the largest stadium subsidy in U.S. history. So the White Sox have a beautiful, bold, great idea. But asking that much for it, asking anything, but especially that much, is going to make it so much more difficult. There's also the fact that this is already a two-team Major League Baseball market. And I want to throw out this parallel. This was a quote from the commissioner, Rob Manfred, right after the owners approved the relocation vote of the Oakland A's to ultimately go to Las Vegas. And Rob Manfred was asked kind of about the fan base and what they should do, and if baseball is abandoning Oakland and part of the Bay Area. This is what the commissioner said, quote, "First of all, we do have a Major League team in the Bay Area. It's not like there is not an available option. The Giants obviously still play there." So my point is, if there's any whispers about the White Sox moving out of town because they didn't get what they wanted in Chicago, this seems like the textbook approach from the commissioner, Rob Manfred. Any two-team market where the smaller team doesn't get what they want and want to move away, baseball's not seemingly concerned about keeping a two-team market intact. Or the fan base of the Chicago White Sox. There kind of is precedent here for not a lot of regard for the White Sox fan base, apparently from the position of Major League Baseball. So usually I do takeaways at the end of this video. Instead, I'm just kind of going to do a checklist here and run down the list of all the reasons I'm concerned. And if this feels like a pitch and I'm trying to pitch you on being concerned, I don't know about that. I just want you to be aware of these things. The team struggling recently, and especially this year, check. The attendance decline, check. New stadium drama, like we've got to escape this old place, we got to get to this new place, it's out there, check. The request for $1.7 billion of public funding, check. Some relocation talk, and I don't even want to mention the names of the cities, but they've been out there, they've been not exactly deliberately said, but they've been mentioned and whispered and presented like they exist out there without anybody making this up. And the White Sox play in a two-team Major League Baseball market. So all of those things, like I said at the top, are a little bit concerning to me about the viability and the future of this White Sox franchise. Those things in motion all at the same time, all going in this direction, all going at this pace, don't seem to bode well for me and what I know about baseball and recent times and maybe spinning it forward. So that's that. You made it here to the end of the video. You know, I really appreciate that. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me. this video, this channel. And by the way, if you've never seen me before or any of this stuff, that's great. I'm glad you found me. Welcome to the channel. Do me a quick favor, though, before this ends and before you leave, go down there and hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.